it'd be almost criminal. I mean, I'm sure you get asked about Randy all the time. I know that's a very sort of I know you must get.
It was his birthday yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that was I was going to say, yeah. But I guess my question, feeding off of that, rather than just throwing you some generic question, about
Mhm.
it, what did you kind of pick up from observing his journey, if you will, and sort of being a part of that?
Yeah, great question. But it seemed like Randy's journey was already set before I met him. So it was not a matter of watching his growth because he was growing naturally. He was growing before I met him. And it was just that pattern, growth pattern, exponential growth as a musician and as a human being. He was, as a human being, I don't think he changed that much at a time when he could have changed, but he didn't. He just kept, his integrity. He had the highest level of musical integrity and as a human being of anybody I ever met. And it was the perfect timing was because up until 1978, every single band that I played in, mostly, was trying to survive, just to make some money, to make money. It was kind of like my high school, college period that you're learning and you're gathering information so you can apply that to the next level, which is joining a band whose sole existence was to get a record deal and become a recording and touring worldwide artist, which is what Quiet Riot in the 70s, the Randy Rhoads version, was all about. And for the first time, this is it. Our focus is just on music. There's no other distractions. Our focus is how we're going to get a record deal. And then after that, how we're going to tour or how we're going to perform and present or what original song we were going to work on so we could take it to the record labels. It was that very narrow laser focus that we had. And I got to say, Randy had the highest integrity of any musician. And I'll tell you why. He was born into not only a musical family, but an academia family. His mom and dad, professors. They still do, a music school in Los Angeles called Musonia, which is where Randy learned and taught at. And so Randy's whole pure existence was to be a musician. That was it. And this happened before I met him. So to walk in and actually meet somebody who wasn't doing it because he wanted to be famous, or he's like in my case, I saw the Beatles and I saw the girls' reaction to the Beatles and I wanted that. Of course, he wanted that too, but that wasn't why he picked up the guitar. He picked up the guitar because basically at birth he had a guitar, around, So it was like, and he started playing classical guitar and started reading music before he even played electric. So it was just like a cultural transition, social transition to actually now, he's hanging out with kids his own age and all the kids are into rock and roll. Well, okay, I'm going to play rock and roll so I can put a band and, that social interaction that prior to social media, where people have to get out of their rooms and houses in order to interact with each other, And so even to the day he died, Randy was the finest example for me, still is, of musical integrity, because he just came from a whole different world.
So what do you think maybe sort of Randy's journey, if you like, might look like if he was, say, my age now or a bit younger? How do you think there's someone that might be, the next Randy Rhoads or the next Van Halen or whatever nowadays? How do you think that journey maybe might look different if he?
Yeah, I think it will look exactly the same because Randy was an accidental rock star. By that I mean, taking into consideration all his musical knowledge, all the years and desire to be a musician, to be a teacher. Randy spent more time teaching than he did actually performing while I was with him in Quiet Riot. He would teach every day for 8 hours, and then he would come over to rehearsal for an hour, hour and a half, with Quiet Riot, or stay longer if we were working on new material, and then go back to the next day, teach another 8 hours, or more. And so he was more of a teacher. As a matter of fact, if you look at any photos of Randy performing live, there's a clarity in his playing, the way he holds the guitar, his fingering position. It looks like he's showing the first few rows what he's playing, which was his nature. He played like that, a lot of clarity. So I think that the desire, being a musician is a calling, has been a calling since troubadours, or prior to that, monks singing Gregorian chants. It's something that you love to do. You have no other choice. I mean, what drove Bach, to being one of the, composers that, he wrote just about it. He had to write a piece, an original piece for his mass every Sunday. And then he wrote for his side project, which was, secular music, and that he was performing at restaurants around the town that he lived in with all these other musicians, and then he taught choir and wrote all the chorales, and so it's like this is what he did. It's like asking somebody who does, let's say a painter. They're a painter. They get up in the morning, they face a blank canvas, and they create something. Well, musicians is exactly the same thing, because we have no other choice. We must. When you go from the Blizzard of Oz record, which has all those diatonic songs, you go to Diary of a Madman. It's a completely different angle that he's using as a composer. Now he's expanding more. If you listen to Diary of a Madman, that's like that's a lesson in compositional theory. It's beautiful, and there's so many songs in there that are just like that, like Tonight. And I mean, I can just go down the list and break them down. But his compositional, and I would not say knowledge, because these are things that he knew, but Randy somehow knew that in order to have a platform, build a platform that bridges the Ozzy as an artist and the band Blizzard of Oz and the audience, was to start with something relatable. Relatable meaning, okay, if you listen to Crazy Train, that's the most iconic song Ozzy has, with the exception of the Black Sabbath era of Paranoid, right? Paranoid, Come and Feel the Noise. They're both, like it, and it goes across the board. Okay, when you start getting to diatonic, and I can even tell you the same thing about Come and Feel the Noise by Slade, melodically, they are really nursery rhymes. Come on, feel the noise, three blind mice. It has that familiarity diatonically. Once you start getting away from diatonic compositions, then your ear is more challenged, and you really have to be in the mood to hear something, and the presentation has to be great, the production, because otherwise your ear's gonna shut off and not apply the focus that it needs to actually internalize it.